No, man, I just really suck at Irish accents. I don't know why. I've tried to do one like 1,000 times. Man, it's gonna be unfortunate if I have to do an Irish accent anytime in the near future. Where the fuck am I? Wait a minute. I know these tattoos. It's roses. Well, at least I'm a girl this time. These tattoos go all the way down? I'll be right back.
Finishing reviewing Biggles' adventures in time in her compound one night, Diamanda Hagan was shot dead by a gang of strident atheists. She found herself in the present, facing a reflection that was not her own and driven by an unknown force to review exploitation films from the 1930s. Her only guide on this journey is Alistair the Homeless Bastard, a drunken actor who only turns up in the Freaks review. And so Hagan finds herself leaping from reviewer to reviewer, watching ancient exploitation movies and hoping that her next leap will be the leap home.
Greetings, gentle viewers. I fucking hate the 30s. How about Reefer Madness' less famous cousin, Sex Madness? After the title card, which I'm assuming was added decades later, we have a scroll, one that's almost too fast to read, and the word syphilis is so scary it gets to be three-dimensional. So yeah, they're desperately trying to convince themselves and you that you're watching this for serious medical reasons. Just stand up and admit it, 30s. You just want to watch a movie where people fuck each other.
Give this man satin undies, a dress, a sweater, and a skirt, or even the lounging outfit he has on, and he's the happiest individual in the world.
We have two grandparents, well, I assume they're grandparents because they'd be pretty sucky toddlers. They're complaining about young people having sex and indulging in sorts of things they find weird or scary.
You're entirely right, Henry. I don't see what's happening to our youngsters today.
To give the gist of their complaints, here's a quote from Plato. The children now love luxury, they have bad manners, contempt for authority, they allow disrespect for elders, and love chatter in place of exercise. Children now are tyrants, not the servants of their households. They contradict their parents, chatter before company, and tyrannize their teachers. Truly modern teens are all bastards. In an office, a woman looks up to make sure she's in the right place. And before you can say some movie about lesbians, we're in a movie about lesbians.
Sheila Wayne removed her last bit of clothing and walked off smiling to the audience. I wish I could do that instead of slaving in this office. I'll bet you could.
Or rather, as close to a movie about lesbians as you can be when you can't actually show people sharing a fucking bed. They go to a strip club because, seriously, you're in the world before the internet. What else are you going to do? And, yeah.
Take my place tonight, won't you?
Lusting after people who've been dead for 60 years. My favorite kind of lusting.
Watch.
One of the weird things about this film is they seem to have taken every single thing they don't care for and decided they were all the same thing. To demonstrate, in most other movies made at the same time, this gang of guys would have used to teach people about the dangers of predatory homosexuals. But the makers of this seem to think that guys lusting after semi-naked women and really fucking flaming men are the same thing. After the show, the strippers are talking about sex and drinking, but strangely not doing either one.
It was taking my clothes off when I come into the theater, putting them on again, taking them off for the customers, putting them on again, taking them off again when I'm ready to go home. I think it's time I gave the old mouth a chance and had a drink.
And they're not being horrible to each other. So this might be trying to be a harrowing story of degeneracy, but so far it's much more pleasant than most of the strip clubs I've seen in movies. If you can't actually show the degeneracy your film is supposed to be about, you might have a problem. Oh, wait, I stand corrected. Smoking, symbolizing every other vice they're not allowed to show. So these guys hang around in their hats trying to get some of the strippers to come to their party when we see something shocking. Look at that, horrible. Someone put that headline over the name of a newspaper. Either that or it's called the Daily Cured Sex Criminal Jailed, and that's the most ironic headline possible. Anyway, one of the strippers returns home to find her landlady waiting for her. Their talk is so boring, the window attempts to commit suicide.
You know, Mrs. Jones, we girls are certainly lucky having a landlady like you around here.
And cut! That was perfect.
Red rum. Red rum. The landlady hands her a letter, and as we can see from this point of view shot, she has some serious tunnel vision. Over in another apartment, a wild party is in full swing. It's so degenerate it looks more like a collection of gay male readers of Chap magazine and their fag hags hanging around than anything even slightly heterosexual.
Say, you don't think she minds our being here?
Of course not, darling. We were just talking about clothes. You know how we girls are.
Oh, my.
That's the gayest opposite-sex kiss ever.
Long enough to fall in love with you at first sight.
Oh wait, I stand corrected. That is. The party scene ends with everyone powering off and leaving the room. I assume they're going to discuss different seasons of Sex in the City, or maybe watch Kathy Griffin DVDs.
I hope they stay a while.
No, wait, that's the gayest opposite-sex kiss. Until the next one I see.
And it's best under the sick.
The blonde stripper who has tunnel vision is seeing a doctor because she has syphilis. I'm guessing that this is all connected, and before you know it, flashback. We all know it's a flashback because her hair is different. She's just won a beauty contest and is about to move to New York. Her fiancé, goth Jake Busey, is scared that her moving away will affect their marriage plans. Hey, dickhead, go with her! In New York, it's the usual story. She does shit and ends up as a stripper. And seeing as in this movie that being a stripper entails wearing hot pants and hanging around with her friends, I can frankly think of far worse things she could be doing. Like appearing in Sex Madness. At some point she attends a Spanish-themed party and I think she gets syphilis from Rudolph Valentino, which is quite tricky seeing as though he was dead at this point in his career. So rather than just telling her what she should expect from having syphilis or showing her pictures, her doctor takes her on a field trip to the local STD ward.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but regulations require hospital clothes.
For me, not you. You see, I make this look good. It's here where we see the main sign of having syphilis, is having dried pieces of paint stuck to your body.
Statistics prove that less than 1/2 of syphilis cases seek treatment or are recognized within the first year of the disease.
Still, it could be worse. You could be a foot fetishist stuck watching this scene.
Now, I've shown you the worst side, Miss Thomas, but there's also a hope.
Isn't this complicated, pointless, and expensive? Oh, I see. Doctor's gotta afford eyeliner. He gets her on some treatment and tells her when she goes home to see her poor, dumb fiancé that she needs to continue with her treatment, or she'll, infect him once they marry and have sex, or whichever happens first.
I must advise you against quacks, unscrupulous doctors who promise you complete health and only prolong your case. They exact heavy fees, and all your good work thus far will be lost.
Dr. Hampton, I don't believe people should be ignorant of sex. On the contrary, I believe that the horrible facts concerning the ravages of social diseases will frighten rather than encourage promiscuous relations.
I believe you are right, Mr. Lorenz.
We then have a short interlude as George Kennedy and Franklin Roosevelt talk about how best to scare people into not having sex. I think we should use Rottweilers. Madness! It's hornets and killer wasps!
Bring hither the skin-diving suit with the bottom cut out, and unleash the rampant wildebeest.
Okay, that one wins. The blonde stripper returns home via the fastest method of the day, stock footage, and within minutes of arriving decides to heed her doctor's words of not listening to the crazy promises of quacks, by trusting the first obvious quack she finds.
Hi, everybody!
You mean I'll be entirely...
Sure, yes. And the cost is $100.
and it's worth 10 times that.
Now pronounce you man and wife.
So they're married, and we can all guess what's gonna happen. She infects the poor dumb Jake Busey with syphilis.
What's the matter, Wendell? Don't you feel good?
At least he works for prototype Amid Jalili. That'll at least distract him from the long and painful death his wife has brought down on his head. At least until he gets fired because he's dying.
Something must be wrong. His lips are so blue.
Folks, you have a very sick child.
And they have a baby with syphilis too, because baby's going crazy and dying is just downright hilarious. So in a subplot that I'd frankly forgotten even existed, we find out this guy, who had the grandparents at the start and later went to the crazy fag-hag party, actually managed to have sex with one of the women there, I assume by accident. And he has syphilis, because by the end everyone will have syphilis or will feel superior to those with syphilis. Elderly Brad Dourif and Warren G. Harding talk about their work to cure syphilis in a scene that claims there is no cure yet. So I think that means the so-called good doctor the blonde woman saw ages ago, the one who said he could cure her and told her to keep away from quacks, was yet another quack. Apparently the only doctors you can trust are either old actors or American presidents.
Oh, son, he just missed Dr. Hampton.
So Herbert Hoover's son, the guy from the forgotten subplot, arrives. He's not showing off his fine eraserhead hair, but has arrived with a confession for his father. His father, the syphilis-battling president doctor. The most ironic confession possible.
I've contracted syphilis.
You have what?
How did this happen?
Well, I assume he walked in to see his fag hag while wearing a bathrobe and she was doing some bikini waxing and he tripped and landed right inside of her because there's no fucking way that he is straight. I can draw some diagrams to demonstrate.
Why didn't you come to me sooner?
It's 1939. He tells you he's gay. You'll stick him in an oven. Talking, and he's gonna be sent off to marry the woman who lives behind the radiator. And because the plot's only allowed 3 minutes of screen time at any section of the film, we're back to the blonde woman. Someone's finally told her poor goth Jake Busey that he and the baby got syphilis from her.
Oh, but the doctor said that I was cured. And I believed him.
Hey, Monica, only dogs can hear you now.
I murdered my baby. And now I'm murdering my husband. Oh, please, get him, Dr. Harris of New York Neurological Hospital. Oh, please.
Of course, we jump right from her crying confession to that, so we get to skip the you bitch part.
And tonight, I want to relate to you my own experiences with this blight upon mankind.
And instead, we see the guy from the other story giving a speech telling his story. I suppose that's nice, because about 90% of the film wasn't his story, but you have 3 minutes left. Can we get some closure to the main plot?
In the show, we went to a house party with drinks and girls and, well, all that goes with it.
It's truly a special film that realizes it didn't explain shit to such a degree that it feels the need to explain what the fuck happened in one of its subplots. Directly to the audience. It's not complicated, it's just that this film is 90% about the blonde woman. Every time they cut back to his story, I have to wonder who the fuck he is. And by the time I remember, his scene is fucking over. So has Jake Busey killed his wife yet?
Your happiness is all that counts, darling.
So let me get this straight. Your fiancé runs off to New York, sleeps around, gets syphilis, doesn't tell you about it, marries you, infects you, and causes you to lose your job due to illness, infects your baby, and leaves you and the baby clinging onto life, and your first on-screen reaction is to fucking hug her?
Oh, the tragedy I've caused you. What must you think of me?
More than ever, I think of you as my wife.
The tranquilizers they gave him must have been fucking amazing. There's not many circumstances that I can think of where someone would be okay with a guy stabbing their spouse. Well, there are about 23,000, but this is a new one.
Hello? Millie? I couldn't keep the news to myself any longer. Guess what? I met him, I love him tonight, he proposed.
Oh, but you...
Yes, I know, but I'm going to be all right.
And now, why is she still alive to have this conversation with a friend of hers who's been just cured of having syphilis, when the other story said they were still looking for a cure? And why is this film's idea of a happy ending a character who I fucking dare you to recognize phoning the main woman to let her know she's been cured? Her husband's on the verge of death, and her baby's not been cured nor heard of in minutes, so I assume it's dead. Why should anyone give a shit about this extra's cure?
What is it, dear?
Oh, it's Sheila, and she's going to be married. Oh, darling, if she can be happy, we can too.
This film is fucking mental. I've seen enough of these weird 30s morality pornos for this not to be a surprise, but they're usually a little easier to follow than this. This is like a double feature where they cut 40% from one film and 10% from the other. There's some crossover between them, though you wouldn't notice until much later on. For instance, the blonde woman's friend who develops and gets cured of syphilis off screen went to the party with the guy who got infected. The only way this could succeed in stopping people from getting syphilis is by making the audience subliminally connect having sex with these fucktards, and therefore make everyone too embarrassed to do it. And what the fuck happened to the lesbian subplot? Reefer Madness had scenes where people did the thing that was causing the madness. In this, all we get is off-screen fucking and people complaining about syphilis. Rather than sex madness, they should have called this syphilis madness. It even makes sense given the terrible ravages of syphilis. This was short but boring at half the length, terribly directed, and had the same soundtrack as Crispin Glover's What Is It, which made the whole thing slightly weird to watch. So, good enough? Can I go now? I know she's hot, but I've got places to be, people to get revenge on. Why do I get the feeling I'm not going to understand what the hell just happened until I see it in a video?
By Osiris and by Apis, look at me. Look into my eyes. You have turned into a cat. By Osiris and by Apis, a cat. By Osiris and by Apis, there's a dear good pussycat then. Nice little purse.